Imagine stumbling upon a windfall of $400 million. What would your first move be? Would you go for the high life, like buying a private island and cruising around in a gold-plated Ferrari, tossing cash like confetti? Or would you go the opposite route, enjoying a humble sandwich on a park bench, sharing a chat with someone down on their luck? If you're leaning toward the first options, you're not alone in dreaming big. But if you think that's the way to spend wisely, you might not be in the same league as some of Hollywood's most grounded stars. Take Elijah Wood, for example. Best known for his iconic role as Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, could have easily fallen into the trap of Hollywood excess. With a global blockbuster under his belt, making over $1.1 billion and a net worth of $20 million, you'd expect him to be living it up in some over-the-top mansion or cruising around in a luxury car. But Elijah Wood has chosen a path that's more charmingly humble. Instead of splurging on a flashy estate, he settled into a cozy Victorian-style home in Austin, Texas, which he snagged for a reasonable $1.075 million. This 1890s gem, with its high ceilings and unique character, seems like a perfect match for someone who once carried the One Ring to Mordor. And while many of his peers might be jet-setting around the globe, Elijah's most lavish indulgence is likely his high-quality home audio equipment. Instead of shopping for luxury vehicles, you're more likely to catch him hunting for rare vinyl records, though he does drive a couple of practical cars, a modest Audi A4 and a Mini Cooper S. In his downtime, Wood seems to prefer the simple life, possibly for evading any pesky Nazgul. His low-key lifestyle extends into his philanthropic efforts, proving that he's just as thoughtful and grounded as you'd hope a hobbit would be. Even with his impressive earnings, he keeps things real, savoring small pleasures like a $300 rare vinyl record rather than chasing after the dragon's hoard. So, while $20 million might seem like a lot, Elijah Wood's approach to living modestly and thoughtfully is a refreshing contrast to the typical Hollywood scene. Zooey Deschanel. Known for her offbeat charm and quirky roles, Zooey might be a Hollywood favorite with a $25 million net worth, but her lifestyle is surprisingly down-to-earth. Despite being the lovable Jessica Day on New Girl, Zooey's real-life approach is anything but extravagant. Take her home, for example. Zooey's Hollywood Hills pad, bought for just $1,069 million, is a far cry from the flashy mansions you might expect. Instead of turning her space into a Pinterest board of mason jars and DIY projects like her on-screen character might, Zooey opted for a sleek mid-century modern retreat that's as stylish as it is understated. And when it comes to managing her finances, Zooey is as careful as Schmidt from New Girl is about cleanliness. Her monthly expenses are just a fraction of her income, a fact that became clear during her divorce proceedings when it was revealed she lived comfortably on around $22,500 a month from a $95,000 income. Yes, you heard that right. Her credit cards are all paid off. Talk about financial savvy. Her prudence extends to her wardrobe as well. She's known for shunning high-end designer labels in favor of thrift store treasures, proving that great style doesn't have to come with a hefty price tag. As she's pointed out, true style isn't about splurging on the most expensive items. Much like her character's endearing quirks, Zooey finds happiness in simple pleasures, whether it's her beloved ukulele game or her eclectic collection of thrift store finds. She's also behind HelloGiggles.com, a platform she co-founded to promote positivity and creativity. So, while Jessica Day might be breaking into spontaneous song on screen, Zooey Deschanel is singing the praises of smart living and modesty in real life. She's a prime example that you don't need a fortune to lead a fulfilling and stylish life. Sometimes, less really is more. Halle Berry. It's pretty unusual to see an Oscar-nominated star living a life that feels so relatable. And even more surprising when an Oscar winner manages to be even more cautious in their spending. With a net worth of $90 million, you'd expect Halle Berry to be living in some opulent palace, but she's actually pretty down-to-earth, more like a savvy thrift shopper than a Hollywood royalty. Despite her glamorous roles as a Bond girl and her Oscar-winning turn in Monsters Ball, Halle's financial habits are refreshingly modest. Growing up with a single mother after her parents split, Halle learned the value of money early on. Her childhood wasn't exactly a fairy tale. Think of it more like a real-life Cinderella who knows her way around thrift stores rather than a castle. She even spent weeks in a homeless shelter and a YMCA in New York while chasing her acting dreams. A testament to her dedication and an early lesson in finding bargains. These days, although her life is definitely more comfortable, Halle still approaches spending with a cautious mindset. You might not expect to see a Bond girl hunting for clearance items, but that's exactly what she does. Her wedding was another example of her down-to-earth style, with a guest list so intimate it could fit in a Mini Cooper, underscoring her belief that sometimes less is more. Halle attributes her thriftiness to her mother, who mastered the art of making every dollar count. Despite her illustrious career, spanning from Jungle Fever to Catwoman, which, let's be honest, wasn't everyone's favorite, Halle enjoys the simple pleasures of life, like bargain hunting and relaxing with a glass of wine on her patio. And yes, that viral photo of her lounging comfortably is just her way of embracing life on her own terms. Halle Berry might be a high-profile star, but she manages to keep things grounded, showing that even in the glitzy world of Hollywood, there's room for a bit of thriftiness. And if you're wondering about the more extravagant side of Hollywood, well, just wait for the next story. Christian Bale. Let's take a moment to chat about Batman. It might seem a bit out of the blue, but hear me out. Especially when we're talking about the man behind the Bat mask, Christian Bale, who couldn't be further from his crime-fighting alter ego. Christian Bale, known for his role as Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, is the very definition of high-tech luxury in his on-screen persona. With his sleek black suit, a futuristic Batcave, and a fleet of high-end gadgets, Batman lives in the lap of luxury. But in real life, Bale is the complete opposite. Despite his impressive $120 million net worth, he leads a life that's more hermit than Hollywood superstar. While Batman zooms around in a high-tech Batmobile, Bale is often seen driving his nearly 20-year-old Toyota Tacoma TRD. Yes, you read that right. An old pickup truck that's more reliable companion than luxury vehicle. In contrast to Bruce Wayne's flashy Lamborghini Murcielago, Bale's choice of vehicle might seem like a nod to embracing simplicity, perhaps even fitting for someone who has to fold his cape to get into the trunk. His career boasts some of Hollywood's most iconic roles, from the chilling character in American Psycho to the intense Bruce Wayne. You might think all that method acting would translate to a method lifestyle, but Bale keeps things refreshingly modest. He resides in a simple house, steering clear of the typical Hollywood opulence. And while Bruce Wayne might have a personal assistant, Bale handles his own grocery shopping, presumably picking up some Bat-approved snacks and maybe a Joker-inspired treat or two. During the filming of Public Enemies, Bale even turned down the chance to stay in a swanky luxury villa, opting instead for more modest digs. Maybe he was staying true to his role as the notorious John Dillinger, or maybe he just enjoys living like a real person rather than a superhero. Despite his wealth, Bale's approach to life is notably low-key. No assistant, no flashy car, just a good old truck and a penchant for finding a bargain. It's a bit of a trend among superhero actors, isn't it? They may save the world on screen, but off-screen they're often down-to-earth and surprisingly relatable. Keira Knightley. Ever wonder how someone as glamorous as Keira Knightley, known for her stunning period costumes and Hollywood roles, manages to live so frugally? It's almost like there's a bit of magic at play. Keira Knightley, the iconic star of Pirates of the Caribbean and other hit films, boasts an impressive net worth of $80 million. Yet she lives more like a savvy character from a classic novel than a Hollywood starlet. Her annual spending allowance? A modest $50,000. Yes, you read that right. That's less than what you might spend on a few nights out, yet she still manages to shine on the red carpet and in her films. Knightley shares a charming London townhouse with her husband, musician James Wrighton, and their children. Her home life is refreshingly down-to-earth, much like her wedding, a low-key affair with fewer guests than a pirate crew and a recycled Chanel wedding dress she had worn before. Talk about blending fashion with sustainability. Despite raking in substantial earnings from hits like Atonement and The Imitation Game, and a lucrative deal with Chanel, Keira prefers to keep things simple. She's not interested in the high life that could set her apart from everyday people. Instead, she values connecting with others over the simple pleasures of life. Her approach to spending is so modest that during her divorce proceedings, it was revealed that even though her company, Kickboo Limited, earned $2.5 million, she only paid herself around $53,000. Imagine explaining that to a pirate crew. Keira's lifestyle choices make her seem almost relatable despite her Hollywood status. She's like us, just with a few more accolades and the talent to pull off a corset with effortless grace. Her understated way of living serves as a refreshing reminder that amidst the glittering world of fame, the greatest treasures often come from a grounded and modest approach to life. Leonardo DiCaprio. When you're dating someone who might have been born around the time of your most legendary film, you'd expect a bit of public scrutiny. But Leonardo DiCaprio seems to glide through such situations with surprising ease. You'd think with his $300 million fortune, DiCaprio would be living it up like a Hollywood elite, but that's not quite his style. While he's definitely got the cash, he lives a life that's surprisingly low-key for someone of his fame, except for that one time he bought an island. But who hasn't indulged in a little splurge? Leo's down-to-earth demeanor likely traces back to his humble beginnings. Before he charmed audiences in What's Eating Gilbert Grape or became an icon in Titanic, DiCaprio was just another kid growing up in East Hollywood. His mother worked as a secretary, and his father sold underground comics. With money tight, acting was his ticket out of a tough neighborhood. Fast forward to 1997, and Titanic catapulted him to stardom, making him a global sensation. Yet, instead of going full Gatsby with his newfound riches, DiCaprio has kept things grounded. He does indulge in a few luxuries from time to time, but he's also a committed philanthropist. In 2020, his foundation contributed $3 million to help with Australia's bushfire crisis. And it's not just his charity work that shows he's a regular guy at heart. He's been seen helping lost tourists in Manhattan, proving that despite his massive wealth, he remains approachable and down to earth. So while DiCaprio might have a lavish $10 million home and some luxury items, he's not exactly living like a recluse. But before we dive into the world of the richest actors who embrace a more hermit-like lifestyle, let's switch gears and talk about a rather unique celebrity who once dressed in pork chops. Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is known for her extravagant antics like strutting down the red carpet in a meat dress or arriving at the Grammys in a giant egg. But behind all the glitter and theatricality, there's a surprisingly down-to-earth side to her lifestyle. With a staggering net worth of $330 million, you might think Lady Gaga would be living in a world of luxury, diving into pools of diamonds and living it up. Instead, she's more likely to be seen hunting for discounts and using coupons at the grocery store. Yes, the same superstar who wowed audiences at the Super Bowl is also a savvy coupon clipper. Before her rise to fame as Mother Monster, Gaga was just another artist in a modest one-room apartment on Manhattan's Lower East Side. For years, she made do with a $100 a month place, even as her star began to shine with hits like Poker Face and Bad Romance. Eventually, she moved into a sprawling $22.5 million Malibu mansion. After spending years in a tiny apartment, a bit of extra space must have felt like a breath of fresh air, especially with room to store her iconic costumes. Despite her massive success, Gaga's manager was often baffled by her lack of extravagant spending. "I don't spend money at all," Gaga would say. Perhaps her attention was more focused on hiring paranormal experts to keep her home ghost-free. Yes, Gaga invests in electromagnetic ghost detectors to ensure her mansion stays spook-free. Forget fancy cars, her focus is on keeping the supernatural at bay. Despite her A-list status, including a 6-time Grammy win and acclaimed roles in American Horror Story, Hotel and a Star is Born, Gaga stays surprisingly grounded. Her humble beginnings and close family ties might explain her modest approach. Or maybe it's just the ghosts she's trying to keep away. Regardless, while Lady Gaga might seem like the eccentric aunt who spends her fortune on elaborate costumes and ghost-busting equipment, our next celebrity is more like the funny uncle who brings humor and charm to every gathering. Ryan Reynolds. You might be surprised to learn that despite his massive wealth, Ryan Reynolds is the ultimate poster child for modest living in Hollywood. With a staggering net worth of $350 million, you might picture him swimming through piles of cash like Scrooge McDuck. But in reality, Ryan's life is far from the high-rolling stereotype. Instead of indulging in flashy luxuries, Ryan embraces a low-key lifestyle. His version of a wild night involves diaper duty and soothing midnight cries, a true testament to the glamorous world of parenthood. Alongside his equally famous wife, Blake Lively, Ryan chose a charming 3-bedroom house in Bedford, New York, costing a modest $2.3 million. Sure, that's not pocket change, but considering their financial means, it's practically a cozy cottage. They later upgraded to a larger $5.7 million home, but it's still nestled in Bedford, far removed from the glitz of Hollywood. Ryan and Blake's idea of excitement seems to revolve around backyard barbecues and horseback riding. Even with his superhero status as Deadpool, Ryan isn't one for the stereotypical wild nightlife. As he humorously put it, "I've never been the guy stumbling out of bars at 3 in the morning, at least that anyone is aware of." Instead, you're more likely to find him at home, wrapped up in family life and playfully wishing for a soccer team's worth of daughters. He once joked, "If I could have 9 daughters, I would be thrilled." Ryan's down-to-earth nature also reflects in his choice of film roles. Rather than gravitating toward intense dramas, he often opts for roles that match his laid-back attitude, like the sarcastic Deadpool or the lovable Pikachu. Clearly, Ryan knows how to keep things grounded, both in his personal life and his career choices. Jennifer Lawrence. Ever wonder if a Hollywood superstar really needs to live like they're scraping by just to come off as more practical? Jennifer Lawrence seems to be proving that you can be a fan favorite without splurging on every luxury item out there. Imagine Katniss Everdeen picking out groceries with a coupon, or Mystique from X-Men catching the bus. Welcome to Jennifer Lawrence's surprisingly prudent lifestyle. Despite her impressive $160 million net worth, Lawrence doesn't flaunt her wealth. Instead, she's more at home in a second-hand store than a high-end boutique. While you'd expect someone of her status to be surrounded by luxury, Lawrence opted for a more grounded approach. Even as one of the highest-paid actresses in the world, she keeps her living arrangements refreshingly low-key. Picture this: the Oscar-winning star living in a modest apartment or a regular house in Kentucky. It's almost like discovering your favorite superhero still hangs out in their parents' basement. Back in 2012, when she was skyrocketing to fame with the Hunger Games, Lawrence was still driving a Volkswagen EOS, so down to earth it makes a Prius look like a sports car. She seemed to think if Katniss could thrive on squirrel stew, she could manage without a luxury vehicle. Even after her success, she stuck with her 1,413 square foot condo in Santa Monica for years. Imagine the surprise of her neighbors when they realized the girl living next door was the face of a blockbuster franchise. They probably just assumed she was really into archery. But don't be fooled by her modesty. Jennifer Lawrence is also a generous philanthropist. In 2016, she donated $2 million to the Kosare Children's Hospital in Louisville, proving that while Katniss might save Panem, J-Law is busy making a difference in the real world. Sure, she eventually upgraded to a bigger house in Los Angeles and a chic condo in Tribeca, but she manages to blend luxury with her signature humility. It's like seeing a superhero who balances their high-flying exploits with a grounded everyday life. Keanu Reeves, picture this. The man who could easily be living the high life with his $400 million net worth prefers a lifestyle that's more Zen monk than Hollywood royalty. Keanu Reeves, the enigma who's as famous for his humility as he is for his roles, embodies a simplicity that's almost mythical. Despite his vast fortune, Keanu keeps things remarkably low-key. His idea of a luxury experience is enjoying a sandwich on a park bench rather than dining at an exclusive restaurant. Born in Beirut and raised in New York, Keanu's early life was anything but glamorous. With a turbulent family background, a struggle with dyslexia, and heartbreaking losses, including his close friend River Phoenix and his daughter, Keanu's journey to fame was fraught with challenges. Yet instead of letting these hardships turn him into a reclusive figure, he has become a beacon of generosity. After making a hefty $140 million from the Matrix series, most would expect him to splurge on extravagant purchases like a private island or a yacht. But Keanu did the unexpected. He donated $80 million to the special effects and makeup teams who worked on the films. While other celebrities are busy accumulating luxury items, Keanu is busy giving back. He's the kind of person who would rather lend a hand or offer a smile than bask in the limelight. He drives a reliable Honda and lives in a modest apartment because, as he puts it, "I wouldn't know what to do with all that space in a mansion." And don't be surprised if you see him on the subway, offering his seat with a friendly gesture. Keanu's casual nature extends even to his social events. He once waited 20 minutes in the rain just to get into his own party. No entourage, no fuss, just a genuine guy who prefers to live simply and generously. Keanu's lifestyle isn't just about simplicity, it's a reflection of his belief that true wealth is measured by kindness and generosity. While some billionaires live as though they're broke, Keanu shows that real richness comes from a generous heart and a humble spirit. For more intriguing insights, stick around and check out the videos on this channel.